Peace, everyone. This is Angela Jordan Perry with Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling. So yes, today it is time for another interview, and this day, this moment, right now, I am interviewing myself. So me interviewing myself here today, and which is I've done it before, and so it's not totally unique. But normally you see a new face, another homeschooling mom somewhere that's just making it happen with their home educating of their children. So, but today, because I get so many questions and people want to know my story, and they're like, Angela, you need to be interviewed. You got a story to share. I just thought I'd just go ahead and pop on and do this today. I really didn't schedule an interview today because today is my daughter's birthday, so I didn't want to have that focus. But for me to pop on and just share a little bit, I could definitely do that. So as you all come in, go ahead and greet and say hello. Greet me with a hello or peace or something of that nature. If this is your first time seeing Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling, please drop a 1 below. Drop a 1 below. And if this is not your first time and this is what you do, please drop a 2 below. So 1 below if this is your first time, and a 2 below if it is not. All right. So I'm also going to share this onto my page, and as you come in, you go ahead and share as well. You just never know who. I mean, I have so many people who just all of a sudden find my page or find my personal page and connect with me. So you all be sure to share. You just never know who is looking for this insight, this information, this encouragement to help them along their journey or get them started along their journey. Okay, so let me let you know who I am. I am Angela Jordan Perry. I am the host of this show, as I mentioned before. I am a homeschooling mom of 8 children, now 18 years, and excuse me for being rude, just a quick moment here. Homeschooling now for 18 years. We make our home in the upstate of South Carolina. The northwestern part of the state is where we are self-sustaining farmers. Okay. And yeah, so I'm out here. I decided to come out. It's so beautiful, although the mountains are just a little bit cloudy today. But I'm out here with my animals. Everyone's quiet, so that's a good thing. And let's see what else. My passion, my purpose-driven life is to make a positive impact on thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. And I do that in part right here with Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling. I do it through my podcast, Girlfriends Chat. I do it now educating our own. And also in the state of South Carolina, I give legal rights to homeschool. So I do that homeschooling, supporting the community here in the entire state of South Carolina by helping them along their way, giving some insight, some coaching, transcripts, just number one, just first and foremost, just having legal rights to homeschool. Just let me do this live now. All right, so I am sharing this, and you all do the same. Yeah, so that's just a little bit about myself, and I am delighted to have this time with you. I am now on episode number 97, and then when we hit episode number 100, which would be Saturday, I believe it is, behind the scenes, and I'll come to you there live as well. All right, so let's see, anywhere else we need to share it. This kind of being an interesting morning because I just slowly got up. I did my meditation, did my normal routine and all that. Then I decided to do something to my hair. So then that just threw me off schedule a little bit. But let's see, I am glad to be here with you all. And all the questions I normally ask all the interviewees, they're all kind of the same. And I won't repeat my how did I get started homeschooling. That's another video, and you can go find that on YouTube. How did I get started, and what's my why behind getting started? So what I will jump into on this portion of this interview with me is what is my daily day look like. Share that. Or maybe I did that on the first one, excuse me, but I'll share that part again. My worst day of homeschooling and my most memorable day of homeschooling. So I'll stop there on those 3 focuses, okay? So normally when I have been, since homeschooling 18 years, I have gone through different phases of homeschooling. And you can hear my rooster, one of them, the one who, whenever I come out here talk, he's going to talk back. It never fails. So you all just deal with him. He'll stop in just a little bit. Now you hear the other one. Now, so now they're going back and forth. It's just hilarious. So anyway, you all come on, pop in and let me know where you're joining in from. And if this is your first time seeing one of the interviews, pop a number 1 in the box below. And if you have seen this before and this is what you do, pop a number 2 down below. But please come in and greet and let us know. So more you communicate with me, more people will see this feed. And we are doing a good deed by spreading the love. All right. So over this 18 years of homeschooling, my time, it has morphed into so much, depending on what phase of life I was in, depending on if I was pregnant or nursing children, or just depending on what other extracurricular activities we would be doing, my schedule would look different. But at the beginning, you know, when I had just one homeschooler, a little preschool, and I was pregnant with my third one, maybe she was a baby by that time. I mean, it was very easy, and we would just have, you know, schooling in the day, just 1.5 hours, maybe an hour of schooling with my then 4-year-old. And then I started a home business, and I had children who are also homeschooled, and that was a total of that 5 and my 3, which then became 8 that I was homeschooling. And so what that was a very regimented schedule. They knew every morning they would have breakfast. I mean, it was just orderly. Breakfast, and then next they would have video time, and that those videos would consist of 1, listen to Spanish, 2, going through their numbers and their alphabets while I worked with my then 4, almost 5-year-old and her kindergarten stuff. Then from there it would switch, and then we would have some playtime, hands-on stuff, and then from there it was time for lunch again, and then from lunch we would have reading time. I would read to them and that type of thing. They were all little, you know. The oldest was 5 and everyone else was younger. So that's how it looked at that time. And then in between those things that were going on, I would take breaks to nurse my baby then. Then it morphed into they were older, and then I had a crew of kids who I was homeschooling. And I had a schedule mapped out on paper. Let me tell you, I knew at 9 o'clock I was going to be working with this kid, and at 9 o'clock they'd be doing that, and at 9 o'clock this other kid would be doing that. And what they really needed help with me on depended on where I was at the time. So all of them would need help with me with math. So I would just switch my time around. 9 o'clock, this child had math, and then maybe 10 o'clock, this child had math, while the other ones was doing other things that they didn't need me, you know. So that's how my school day looked, and it was very structured. But I had one child who just made it difficult. Hey, Takesha. Yeah, he made it difficult. He didn't want to stay on schedule. It was taking him forever to do paperwork. I mean, it was crazy. And so I was always like, come on, Jordan. This is my schedule. Don't mess up my schedule. So needless to say, it was very regimented. I mean, totally regimented. They were also involved in a lot of schedule, you know, events outside the home. And so we had to stay on this schedule so that by this time we can be eating lunch and I could have dinner done. And so we can go out to ballet and Irish step and violin lessons and tap dance lessons, and what else was going on? Irish step, ballet, and you know, I said ballet. So all of those things were going on, and I just needed to have that schedule. Anyone identified? Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. You can identify with the schedule. And so very regimented, and I was a very anal homeschooling mom because I just had to stay on this schedule, you know. And then we had certain days of the week that we were home. So that's cleaning our home. So cleaning day. So that's how it looked then. And fast forward now, we're out here in this country life, and it's very laid back. No one's doing no extracurricular activities. No one's in violin. No one's in baseball. No one's in nothing. I'm an older mom, and I just don't have time to run all over the place, to be quite honest with you. And we're out where it takes about 30 minutes or so to get anywhere. So I'm not running back and forth up the highway. I'm going to wait till they get a little older, and then again, everyone can do everything together. When I stopped that was when everyone's doing archery, and everyone was in archery. That was one thing they could do all together, and they could do violin all together. Then we readopted. I was like, I cannot run all over the place. And so my younger 4 who we adopted, they are on halt because I'm not ready to get running. But now, fast forward, I have made it so that now I have trained my children that they will have an hour and a half of schooling on their own during the day. They get up, they know the things that they go over and they look at and complete. And then after an hour and a half, I come in and then I do math with them on the board. I have my three children. Okay, I'm talking about my four adopted ones because my fifth child, she is pretty much on her own. All right. So I'm talking about my schedule of the day. I get people asking me, Angel, what is your schedule like? What do you do? What is your format and how you flow? So that's what I'm sharing here today. I'm also going to share my worst day of homeschooling and my most memorable day of homeschooling. So for my four, I have three of them in the same grade. I purposely did that. I held one back and brought two up. And so that they are all really kind of ahead for their age. But for an hour and a half, they do their self-studies. They go over things that they have to do. This is what it was this past year. And then I come in and I go over math with them, and then that's it. I check over and test them, if you will, just see how well they're doing self-study, Black history. Do they know these people and who they are and what they've done? Multiplication, they got to know the multiplication facts, all that kind of stuff. And then my fourth one is when I tell him things to do, he gets it done. I check, he does it. I check, he does it. So now I've gone into an unschooling format. And so really right now, everyone knows what they have to do. There are some standard things I do want them doing every day. They are going to read every day. So we have a reading time. And so we've already started this schedule. We have a reading time schedule in which they read, and then they also have writing and they have to write. All right. Then outside of that, it's like, okay, what do you all want to do? And so they all know each day what they're working on. I got some who's working on writing a comic. I got some working on origami. These are things that they chose to do. I have some who are often in the kitchen cooking and they have to do all the measurements and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit more freeing, but I am going to start incorporating some other things because they're asking me things like getting on the computer and creating things and that type of thing. So that's what our schedule looks like during the day. But it is very much an unschooling approach. Once a week, or maybe not once a week, excuse me, once every 2 weeks or so, we head to the library and stock up in tons of library books. Once they all are done, then we head back and get more. So right now, as I'm venturing into this unschooling, I'm really allowing them to lead me. And so it looks different for the most part daily. My youngest one, he can read. He is not like, yeah, I get to read, but he can read, but he's kind of laid back on it. So I'm not pushing that. I've given them all the basics of everything they need to know so that anything they want to do, they can do. But I'm always aware of when it's a teaching moment. Mom, mommy, what does this word mean? Okay, let's go get the dictionary and look it up. So they go get the dictionary and look it up. So constantly, and hi, Christina. Hey, girl. I'm constantly giving opportunities for them to take hold of their learning and what they want to implement and what they want to do. Now, as I go into this unschooling arena fully this year, I'm still working it out and just seeing what that's going to look like for all of us. Am I going to bring back any math books? I have one child who told me he definitely wants to work out of books. So I'm going to do that. Hey, Andrea, I am going to work with him and give him the books that he needs. The other ones have told me they like to just free flow it. Hey, girl. They want to free flow it, if that makes sense, and just what they go through it. But I'm going to make sure that in their learning, they're going to get all the subjects that are pertinent to them. So that's what that looks like. So if you have any questions, the day also is like, if you have questions to ask me questions. I will answer them live on episode 97. It's kind of unique in that sense. So let me know if you have any questions, anything specifically you want to know. But definitely give me some. One, is this your first time seeing the interview that I do on Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling? Or two, if you have seen these before, just drop it down below. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So let's see, my worst day of homeschooling. My worst day of homeschooling, which almost made me quit, and I was ready to throw in the towel. And I kind of did say a little bit about this in the last video, and it was really around my son. I was my second born, he was just a sluggish learner, and just made it just difficult. It wasn't an easy process for him at all, and I was so close. I almost really did. I even called schools to investigate, to be like, I'm putting him back in school, particularly him. I just thought maybe he would do better with someone else. But once I kept thinking past, he's agitating me right now in our schooling. Once I got past that and really thought, okay, do I want to deal with homework now? Like, I didn't want him to be gone all day and then come home, we got to deal with homework. Do I want to deal with someone else having a say in my child's education, like telling me what my son needs to do and what he needs to learn? Do I really want that? Nah. Do I really want to have to deal with getting up so early to get this kid ready and out of the door to go to school, to be there all day and that type of thing? Do I really want that? Nah. Do I really want to have to deal with field trips and got to pay for this and got to take care of that and all this? And I said no. So once I really got past the frustration I was temporarily having with him and just looked at the whole picture of what this homeschooling, this schooling would look like for him, I was like, no, the balance of homeschooling him and toughing it up and working through it is greater than all the things I would felt like I would have to deal with in school. And I just didn't want to do that. Do I want to deal with them saying my son, because if he does that for me, then most likely he's going to go to public school and do the same. Do I want to hear all of that stuff from someone else, a public school system, telling me that my son has some issues or he need to be in special needs class or ADHD or whatever it might come up with, or just trying to scoot him by? Do I want him to be qualified by a grade, if he makes a grade or not? Do I want that for him? No. So that came out of my head really quickly. Just a couple of years ago, I thought again about putting my younger four in public school, and I was ready to quit. The reason why I was ready to quit there, what was the reason around? Oh yeah, I just felt like I had so much going on in my life, and that I just wanted them to have all that they needed, all the attention they needed in their homeschooling. So I was going to put them in public school, all five of them, really. And we went and visited one of the public schools, met the principal, we did a tour, we did all of that. That was just, I think, about 2 years ago. Very, very, very serious on making this happen. And walked through the school, met the principal, the assistant principal. We walked and met the cafeteria people, looked at the kids, and I'm honestly, first, I want to say, if you have your children in public school and it's working for you, it's absolutely fine. But I have to tell you my take on it. Even now, my heart breaks to see kids who just standing in lines for a period of time. Like, I just saw kids standing in lines waiting to get to the next thing. Like, I don't even know how to say, like, what would be the word? Like, I don't know, like not like little soldiers. What's the word? It made me think of, this is the only thing I can say. And again, if your children are in public school and it's working for you, it's okay. This is my perception, okay? I felt like it was like a communist situation. Like, these little kids are standing in line, and you kept hearing the teachers like, put your hands beside you, put your hands beside you, and this type of thing. And so they were all like this the whole time, and they were all just standing there. And all they needed to do is lift their hands like this. They'd be like, "Hail, teacher," or something like that. I just felt that. And I saw kids, for me, I felt like I saw kids who just need to be with the mom. It almost tears me up now. I just saw them, and I just saw these beautiful kids, and I just like, they need to be with their mommy. They need to be with their daddies. They need to be with them in that time during the day. And they were so small. I saw the little kindergartners and the little preschoolers, and my heart just breaks even now think about it. And I thought about, at that time, Benjamin. So that was 2 years ago. So Benjamin would have been in the preschool classes, and we walked through and looked at that, and I looked at all those sweet little babies in there with this one sweet lady. I'm sure she's sweet as she could be, dealing with all these little kids who I felt like they just needed to be with their mommy and live life and have freedom. And And so, although I had two that were really excited about the idea of school, and I broke it down, I'm like, you're going to be gone every day, all day. You won't have your freedom. And so I wanted to let them know that while I was considering putting them in public school, but I was torn. And literally, when we walked out, my oldest one, who was 12 at the time, about to turn 13, she was in tears. She's like, Mommy, I do not want to go to public school. Please do not put me in public school. So then I was like, I won't put her in public school, but then I will put the other ones. And then Benjamin, my youngest one, he says, Mommy, I don't want to go to school. So that was him. He didn't want to go to school. And then my girl, twin girl, she's like, Mommy, I don't want to go. My other two was kind of open to the idea. The one was like, he wanted to see all his friends and show them how to make origami. And I was like, Mario, you're not going to get a chance to do that all day, honey. You're going to have to do schoolwork and talk. Listen. So once I heard all of that, once I saw it, all I needed to do is just see it. All I needed to do is see what this day looked like all day in public school, and then I gave up on wanting to quit. And so I didn't quit, and that's why I'm still homeschooling today, and I am not going to consider it, Lord willing, again. That's not for us. It's just not my environment. Kids need to be kids and be free to be. And I think that while I was a product of public school and my mom had to work, and so I had to go to school, ideally it would have been great just to hang with mom all day. Any time of the day when I needed a hug, I could get it. My kids can get a hug anytime they need a hug during the day. Anytime they want to show me something they drew, or they are working on, or they learned, they can show me because I'm right there. And I think that's precious. And then the other thing is that, so these are the most memorable things. Most memorable day of homeschooling would be for me is just when, memorable things, but memorable day. Memorable day would be when we were working on some math facts or something, and one of my kids, I think it was Mario and Tirza, they were not getting, I think it was 3-number division or something like that. They just were not getting it. And I was able to say, no worries, we'll leave it alone, because I know how things work. When kids are learning things, if they're not getting it right away, people just know that all you got to do, give them the concept for a couple of days, maybe 2. They don't get it, go and leave it alone, and don't show it to them at all for some days. Don't show it to them. Leave it alone. Even a week. Come back, show it again, let them see it for a day. They don't get it, leave it alone and go and do something else. Don't even bring that up anymore. And you watch that by the time something happens in their brain, either in their quiet time or way they're calculating, they're trying to make that thing work. And then what happens is it calculates and computes, and they get it. They actually get it. And so when they got that 3-digit division, and they were like, boom, they had it. That was the most recent memorable day, because we all were excited. We jumped up and down. They were all like, yay. So that was great. But all along this homeschooling journey, there's so many memorable days. So if you all are joining in with me, I'm Angela Jordan Perry, and this is Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling. So I am doing an interview, me interviewing myself. Why? Because so many of you have said, Angela, what's your story? What is your most memorable day? I mean, people have wanted to know, what, Angela, you should be interviewed. So I'm interviewing myself, and just sharing, what my school day looks like, my most memorable day of schooling, and the day of homeschooling that made me want to quit. Okay, so that's the gist of what I'm sharing on here today, and hopefully it's been very memorable. If you all have some questions, let me see. Anybody got questions for me? My first time watching. Okay, first time watching, Andrea. Thank you for joining in. Hey, Sharika. Institutional. Yeah. The public schooling was very institutional, and again, I can't even stress how my heart just broke to see those little kids. I mean, just precious. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I guess it just depends on how you look at it. I felt like they were put in a position to have to be a big boy and big girl sooner than what they needed to be, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just how I felt. Like they had to be away from their parents doing big girl, big boy things while someone else is telling them what to do. Stand in line, be quiet, put your hands beside your head. Don't look at that. I mean, I saw some teachers yipping like really I told you to be quiet and get still. I mean, I saw that and I thought, whoa, okay. Do I want someone else to have that authority to scream at, at my kids in that manner? Let me do that. And I reprimand myself when I do it too much, really. But do I want someone else to have that freedom to do that into my kids? And that was another no. So you all have some specific questions that I can jump into, then I'll be happy to do that. I'll share my next thing, which is always my next question, is what are some resources and tools that I have in my homeschooling that I think everyone should have, either a book in the library, app, resource online, or whatever. I have found that some great online resources have been Khan Academy, Khan, Khan dot, no, Khan, khanacademy.com. That has been a great resource. Virtual Homeschool Group has been another great resource. I have used them now for 8 years. It's online for all of your high-level sciences, biology. I've never taught biology to my kids, chemistry, physics. What else was it? Advanced biology. I've never taught any of that. For all of the high-level literatures, I would send them there to do the literature, and then we would also have literature at home, which would be focused on African-American history, stuff like that. So that is a great resource, virtualhomeschoolgroup.org. Okay. Another great resource that I have used with my kids is a typing, and I can't think of what it's called. Oh, phooey. I'm gonna have to figure it out and put it in the show notes. But it was a great typing program, and it was out of it is out of England, I believe, and it is great. They learn how to type like that. My older ones, so now my next 4 younger ones will do that. Another great resource was to have all my kids have their own little notebook computer. That was great because they had all these online classes, so a little notebook computer personally for them that allowed them to get onto the internet and do their thing was great. That was a great resource. As far as books and things like that, I don't know any specific. I've used several books along the journey, but now I've so deviated from them, I can't really recommend them as great book resources to have in their homeschooling journey. But I do think that urban intellectuals have their little African American cards, and these are cards where they focus on different iconic people and the Black community, and on the back they tell you about these people, and then you can dive in deeper. I think that has been a great resource to have. So shout out to urban intellectuals. You can find them on Facebook. They have a volume 1 and a volume 2. The volume 2 is just all women, about Black women in history. Great resource. As far as on an app, I have it's a podcast, so it's not really an app, but let me see what it's called. I think it's called, no, it's Black History Podcast. That's what it is. If you don't know about the Black History Podcast, I think that you should. You should find out about it. I want to make sure. So it is a podcast, Black History Podcast. I have learned so much about so many different people that I didn't know about. And this guy who does it, I've learned so much. He has done a great job on the details. Different from artists, painters, famous painters, to sculptors, to iconic. I'm going to tell you some of the people up here. I think everyone should have this podcast in their repertoire. It is, where is it at? It is Black History Podcast. Where is it at? I don't see it anymore on my thing. That's weird. I hope they didn't remove it. I haven't listened to it in a while because I've listened to all of them already. But anyway, there it is. I just totally overlooked it. Okay, I looked over it 3 times. But let me tell you some of the things that's on Black History Podcast. That's who it is. So the latest one, I mean, he's not done any updated ones, but the ones that are up there are great. So he's done Bantu Stephen Biko. I've listened to that. Haile Selassie, that was a part 1 and part 2. Esther Jones, the Colored Hockey League of the Maritimes. I listened to that. Who knew about the black hockey team? A league. No, not a team, but a league. Seneca Village. I learned about that out of New York. Marcus Garvey. He did a part 1 and 2 of that. Susie King Taylor. I learned about that. George Alexander McGuire. Vincent Guerrero, the first black president. And I won't go to that right now. The other one is Emily Morgan, Thomas Sankara, part 1 and part 2. Kathleen Cleaver, part 1 and part 2. The Congolese Holocaust, that was great information. So these are great ones that you can listen to with your kids and you yourself. Leroy Satchel Page, Hannibal Barca, Crispus Atticus, Diaspora, where he talks about what is a diaspora from Plymouth to Revolution. Jean-Michel Basquiat, that was excellent. That I learned about being, artists. Francois Dominique Toussaint, part 1 and 2. Kurt Flood and George Kroom. So if you don't know about the Black History podcast, that's one I think everyone should be connected to. So let's see, anyone got any questions? Hey, Penny, thanks for joining in. Hey, Shakita. Hey, Zamina. Hey, Tara. Hey, Jennifer. All of you for joining in. If this is your first time. Yeah, Penny, what's the name of the podcast? Yeah, I think I just said the Black History podcast. Everyone should be connected to that, who are of the African diaspora, because he's done a great job on that. If you have any podcasts that you think are great to share, but these are just some resources that I think are great to have. So let's see, any other questions you want to ask me you all before I sign off? But this is my interview and answer some of the questions that I always ask others, and hopefully it's been informative and for you. And for all of you who are on replay, if you have some questions, still put them down below. I'll respond and answer them and go from there. So every homeschool is different, and this is why we do it, because you get to peek into what someone else is doing and say, oh, okay, that's great. Oh, this is a great idea. Oh, that's a great resource, or what have you. So the rest of this week we'll have some great interviews. Number 98 will be with an amazing mom out of here in South Carolina. And then on Friday, another amazing mom. I have it all posted right here on the page, and you all get connected. So unless you have some more questions, that's the next little segment I wanted to share about my story, and I will continue interviewing myself on another opportunity when I get it, okay? All right, you all. Take care. Any other questions before I sign off? Let me know if you have any questions. Let me make sure I've not missed any. So if you're on replay, go ahead and hit number 1 if this is your first time seeing the interview, the show, and number 2 below if you have seen it before and this is what you do, okay? So again, if you join and hit share button, this is Angela Jordan Perry. Get some people to like and know about Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling, the page. Go over to Educating Our Own now. The elders are getting things prepared, and so the website is going to be up and going. So you want to know about the website, go to you ready? edourown.com, www.edourown.com, and go there. There's not a lot up there yet. The elders are getting things together, but you all can go ahead and get signed up if you like, and you can get all the free content that's going to be while it is still available to you at free cost, okay? All right, you all, no other questions? Let me see. Hold on. Hey, Shiva, good morning, girl. Unless you have some more questions, then I'm going to go ahead and end this now. So that's all for today on this segment of my interview. And excited about this. Yeah, Shiva. So yeah, so the elders are preparing and they're excited, and more people are saying, Angela, I need to be an elder. You feel like you have a voice to share and you want to give back into our African homeschooling diaspora community. You want to give back, strengthen, support, and encourage. What is it that's on your heart that you can share and give out to? I mean, the topics are limitless. And you just get to send in your proposal. Once we see it and approve it, we send you the things you need to know to stay within our guidelines for your you know, your being an elder, village elder with us. Then we go from there. But anyway, so www.edourown.com. And thanks for joining in. This is Angela Jordan Perry. I'm going to sign off. And good to have this time with you all. Talk to you later. Peace.